So the first MCQ says the percentage by mass of oxygen in caffeine is. So first of all we find out the molar mass of caffeine. So caffeine में 8 कार्बन्स हैं, 8 into 12 is equal to 96 plus 10 hydrogens हैं, so 1 into 10 is equal to 10. Then we have 4 nitrogens, so 4 into 14 is equal to 56, and there are 2 oxygens, 2 into 32 is equal to 64. So the total mass becomes 194 grams for caffeine. Now in this 194 grams we have oxygen 32 grams, so 32 divided by 194 into 100%. Now we cancel it with 2, so we get 16 here and we get 97 here. Now we can cut 97 with 100, so 97 into 1 point, a very little value will be 100, so this percentage will be somewhere near to 16, so B is the correct option. How many formula units are present in 125 grams of hydrated copper sulfate? So hydrated copper sulfate is CuSO4.5H2O. Mass of 1H2O is 18 grams and 5H2O is 90 grams. Then copper is 64 grams, sulfur is 64 grams, and 4 oxygens are also 64 grams. So we get the total 250 grams. Sorry, here sulfur is 32 grams. So 250 grams is molar mass of hydrated copper sulfate. 125 is the given mass. So it means that given mass divided by molar mass is equal to 0.5 moles of copper sulfate. So in 0.5 moles, how many formula units are present? 0.4 into Avogadro's number. So it equals 3.01 into 10 raised to the power 23. So C is the correct option. Formula mass of NaNO3 is, so for sodium, the formula mass is 23 atomic mass units. For nitrogen, it is 14 atomic mass units. For oxygen, it is 16 atomic mass unit multiplied by 3. Because here we have 3 oxygens. So total is 23 plus 14, 37 plus 16 into 3, 48. So it equals 85 atomic mass units. Here we have been given NaNO3 although NaNO3 exists as NaNO3, not NaNO3 but according to the option given we take it as 2. So we get 147 atomic mass units. So C is the correct option according to the one given here. X-rays are produced when a heavy metal anode is struck by. So X-rays are produced when the cathode rays from the cathode struck a heavy metal anode. X-rays are given out. So cathode rays are basically electrons. Distance between third and fourth orbit is given by, so distance is given by radius of fourth orbit minus radius of third orbit. So radius of fourth orbit, for that we get 0.529 into 4 square 16 minus 3 square 9. So we get 0.529 into 7. So 7 into 0.5 is equal to 3.5. So this value will be somewhat greater than 3.5. So it is 3.7. If an electron is supposed to have mass equal to that of proton, the energy in first orbit of Bohr will be. So energy is given by minus Ze square divided by, here we have m. So it is minus me4 by 8 epsilon naught square h square n square. So mass is given here. If the mass is supposed to be that of proton, it would be increasing 1836 times more. So if mass increases 1836 times more, the energy would increase 1836 times in a negative value, which means that it would become 1836 times less. X-rays have a wavelength spanning over a wavelength of, so this is the correct option C. This is from the textbook. A trigonal pyramidal molecule without any pi bond is. So NO3 minus is triangular planar. XCO3 is triangular pyramidal, but it contains 3 pi bond, so it is wrong. CH3 plus is also triangular planar. PCl3 like NH3 is triangular pyramidal and has not any pi bond, so this is correct option. Water has dipole moment of 1.84 diopter, proving its. So if water was supposed to be linear, so both of the dipole moments would have cancelled out, giving a net dipole moment of 0. So water has a net dipole moment, which means that it is not linear in shape but angular in geometry. So C is the correct option. Minus 173 degrees centigrade is equal to, so basically Kelvin is equal to centigrade plus 273. So minus 173 degrees centigrade equals 100 Kelvin. So C is the correct option. For a gas with large size molecules, the value of compressibility factor at low pressure is, so basically Z is equal to PV by RT, which is equal to 1 for an ideal gas. But if a gas has large size molecule, so at low pressure the volume should be high to keep PV constant. But for a large size molecules gas, the force of attraction are greater. Therefore, volume is not as great as it should be because of attractive forces. So volume is lesser than expected. Therefore, this overall PV decreases, which means that Z is lesser than 1. So C is the correct option. Decreased pressure for a real gas P dash is given by. So basically in van der Waals equation, the corrected pressure is P plus N square A divided by V square. Now the decreased pressure is P dash, which is given by N square A divided by V square. Adiabatic expansion of a gas in low pressure region is called, so it is the definition of Joule-Thomson's effect. In a mixture of equal amounts by mass of H2 and helium having a pressure of 18 atmosphere, so equal amounts of H2 and He are taken, which means that the ratio of their moles would be 1:2. And the total pressure is 18 atmosphere, so pressure of helium is 1/3 of 18, which means that it is 6 atmosphere, and that for hydrogen is 2/3 of 18, which means that it is 12 atmosphere. Now CH4 is added, making a pressure rise of 10 atmosphere. So CH4 has total pressure of 10 atmosphere. Now what is the new mole fraction of helium in the mixture? Now the partial pressure of helium remains the same, that is 6. So to find out the answer, we have the new total pressure, that is 28 atmosphere. We multiply all these options with 28 to get the answer 6. So 5 by 9 into 28 does not give us 6, so this option is wrong. 5 by 3 into 28 does not give us the answer 6, it is also wrong. 3 by 14, so 14 2s are 28 and 3 2s are 6, this option gives us the answer 6, so this is correct. The correct order of strength of IM forces is, so hydrogen bond is the strongest force, followed by dipole-dipole, followed by London force, so D is the correct option. Compound with lowest boiling point is, so this diethyl ether is most volatile and has lowest boiling point given in the table in the book. Molar heat of vaporization is greatest for NH3, that is also from the table of a book. ZNO and CDS are isomorphs and these exist as hexagonal crystals, that is also an example from the textbook. Which crystal exists in triclinic form, that is K2Cr2O7 given in the textbook. 2NH3 forms N2 plus 3H2. The relationship between Kc and Kp for this reaction is, so basically Kp is equal to Kc into RT delta N, where N is the number of moles of products minus number of moles of reactants. So this is 4 minus 2, 2. So correct relationship is Kp is equal to Kc into RT delta N. So C is the correct option. Extent of reaction is almost forward when Kc is. So when the Kc is large, products are at a large concentration at equilibrium. Therefore, the extent of reaction is forward. So C is the correct option. Sorry, it's not large, it's very large. For an endothermic reaction, increasing the temperature. So endothermic reaction is heat demanding reaction. Increasing the temperature provides the heat and makes it go forward, and decreasing the heat makes it go backward. Increasing the temperature of reaction by 20 K, rate of reaction increases by. So the rate of reaction increases by 2 raised to the power n, where n is the number of times the temperature is increased by 10 Kelvin. So we have increased the temperature by 20 Kelvin, which means that we have increased it 2 times by 10 Kelvin. So the rate increases 4 times. Heat of formation of CH4 is minus 75. O2 is pure element, so for this heat of formation would be 0. CO2 is minus 393 and H2O is minus 286. So what is heat of combustion? So heat of combustion would be heat of products minus heat of reactants. So heat of products we have 1 CO2, that is minus 393. Plus we have 2 H2O, which is minus 286 into 2. And we subtract the heat of reactants, so we have 1 CH4, it is minus 75. By simplifying it, we get minus 891 kilojoules per mole. What strength of H2SO4 is neutralized by excess NaOH to give a heat change of minus 28.7. So basically, minus 57.4 kilojoule per mole heat is released when 1 mole of H plus is neutralized by 1 mole of OH minus. So minus 28.7 kilojoule would be released when 0.5 moles of H plus are neutralized by OH. Now 1 mole of H2SO4 gives us 2 mole of H plus. So 0.5 moles of H plus are given by 0.25 moles of H2SO4. Oxygen shows a positive oxidation state in. So oxygen is only positive when it binds with fluorine, because fluorine is the only more electronegative atom than oxygen. So here fluorine is minus 1 and oxygen is plus 2. So D is the correct option. Caustic soda is generated by. Caustic soda is NaOH. To form caustic soda, we take NaCl solution in water. Now we make sure that H and Cl are discharged at the electrodes, leaving behind NaOH. Now Cl would be discharged when the concentration of Cl is large, which means that the solution is concentrated. So whenever we take concentrated aqueous NaCl in Nelson cell, we get caustic soda. Keep in mind that Nelson cell is also called Kastner-Kellner cell. 6 atoms in ring are present in. So pyridine is a 6 atoms containing ring, and these 3, all of them contain 5 atoms in the ring. Chloropropane can show. So this is propane. Now due to 3 carbons, it cannot show chain isomerism. It only shows position isomerism where chlorine can switch positions between 1 and 2. So it only shows position isomerism. Compound C2H6O can exist as. So it is the molecular formula for two compounds, ethanol and dimethyl ether. So it can exist as functional group isomers. True about alkanes. So keep in mind that linear alkanes have higher boiling point while branched have higher melting point. Now for melting point, the trend is variable. Sometimes linear have higher melting point and sometimes branched have higher melting point, but for the sake of entry test we take branched as having a higher melting point. Bromohydration of 1-butene gives. So this is 1-butene. Bromohydration means adding BROH. Now here the addition would occur in accordance with Markovnikov's rule. The positive part goes where the hydrogen is greater and the negative part goes where hydrogen is lesser. So as a result we get 1 bromo 2 butanol. So B is the correct option. Addition of HBr to propine. So this is propine. This is an unsymmetrical alkyne. Now whenever we add HBr to an unsymmetrical alkyne, the first step follows Markovnikov's rule. Now H adds here and Br adds here. Now again the product is unsymmetrical. The second step also follows Markovnikov rule. So both the steps follow Markovnikov's rule. The intermediate product in hydration of propine. So this is propine. Now we add water to it according to Markovnikov's rule. H comes here, OH comes here. So we get this compound. This is propene 2-ol. So B is the correct option. Two aromatic rings are fused in. Two aromatic rings are fused in naphthalene. Now anthracene and phenanthrene, both of them contain 3 aromatic rings fused together. Phenyl ethanone is produced by substitution of which ion on benzene? So phenyl ethanone is another name for acetophenone. So this is the compound. So attaching this group on benzene gives this compound. So this ion is called acetyl cation ion. So this is basically acetyl cation. So C is the correct option. Of the given condition, one favoring SN1 over SN2 is, so primary substrate gives SN2, strong nucleophile also favors SN2, average leaving groups favor SN2 because it does not leave behind itself, polar protic solvent, so protic solvent favors ionization and SN1, so D is the correct option. Formation of transition state in a biomolecular reaction involved. So biomolecular reaction is E2 or SN2 reaction. So in biomolecular reaction, the reactant and the nucleophile or base, they collide with each other to form a transition state. So collision of two reactants is involved in a single step. Larger size alcohols are insoluble in water due to. Now alcohols are soluble in water due to this OH group, but as the size of carbon chain increases, so this hydrophobic portion increases and masks the size of hydrophilic region. So gain in size of hydrophobic region makes larger alcohols insoluble. Carbon-oxygen bond length in phenol is. So carbon-oxygen bond length in phenol is 136. And oxygen-hydrogen bond length is 96. Aldehyde or ketone is protonated in acid catalyzed reaction to give. So this is an acid catalyzed reaction, and in the first step, oxygen picks up the hydrogen and takes electron from carbon. So it is protonated to give this ion, and this is oxonium ion. So B is the correct option. NN bond is found in. So oximes are basically carbon double bond nitrogen and then OH. Cyanohydrin. Cyanohydrin is basically this compound. Imine. Imine is this compound. Phenylhydrazine is formed by adding hydrazine to aldehyde or ketone. So this contains NN bond. So D is the correct option. Oxidation of aldehydes occurs in. So in tolerance test, the reagent oxidizes aldehyde and is reduced itself and gives out silver. In Benedict's test, copper is reduced and it oxidizes aldehyde. And in chromyl test, the chromate ion is reduced by aldehyde. So oxidation of aldehyde occurs in all these tests. First step in Wolff-Kishner's reaction is similar to. So Wolff-Kishner's reduction is basically reduction of aldehydes or ketones by using hydrazine. So the first step is similar to the addition of hydrazine to aldehyde or ketone. Formamide in IUPAC is, so formamide is basically this compound. So this is also called methane amide. Isophthalic acid was obtained by oxidizing. So isophthalic acid is basically this acid. Now this is made by oxidizing xylene by KMNO4. Now which xylene is oxidized? So this metaxylene is oxidized to give us isophthalic acid. Amides are formed by reacting NH3 with. So amides are formed when NH3 is reacted with either of them. The NH2 present in the NH3 substitutes OH here, X here and OR here to give us amide. So D is the correct option. Ti plus 3 ion gives. So Ti plus 3 ion basically absorbs the yellow light and it itself appears violet in color. So C is the correct option. In the book, KP book, it is given as purple, so we will take this option as the correct one. PTNH32Cl2 is this is example from KP book and it is example of a square planar complex. Electronic configuration of cobalt is. So cobalt is 4s2 and it comes immediately after iron. So it is 4s2 3d7. So D is the correct option. Largest sized ion is. So plus 2 and plus 3 ions due to their large charge are smaller in size. So these two are wrong. Among sodium and potassium, potassium lies below in the group. So potassium is largest size. Polarization power is greatest for. So polarization power is directly proportional to charge and inversely proportional to radius. So we cancel out the lesser charged ions. We choose calcium and magnesium. So charge is same, size for magnesium is smaller, so its polarization power is greatest. Most acidic hydroxide is formed by. So acidic hydroxide, the hydroxide of silicon is SiOH4 called orthosilicic acid. It is a weak acid. Hydroxide of phosphorus is H3PO4. It is a bit stronger than the previous one. For S it is H2SO4, it is more strong, and for Cl the hydroxide is HClO4 and this is the strongest acid. Compounds resistant to decomposition on heating. So group 1 carbonates except lithium are resistant